We're talking to Ms. VMichael-Wilhoite, and the topic is the Tennessee Regulatory Commission. And of course, Ms. Wilhoite, what we'd like to do during this final segment is to give you an opportunity to talk about some of the issues that you believe to be very, very important, and at the same time to inform our audience of what they might be able to do if they find themselves in situations that they can call upon the commission. Absolutely.
Well, you know, earlier I was talking about the telephone assistance program, and I also talked about slamming and cramming. I want to mention that our agency placed down against a particular company, Talk.com, the largest fine of its kind, after our investigation that they were, in fact, in violation of our rules. They had, in fact, slammed, they had instances of slamming, and the fine that we placed down was a $1 million fine. A couple of those fines were, that money also included fines from resulting in calling consumers who didn't want to be called. And that leads me to our next program,
talk about that.
The Do Not Call program. If a consumer wants to stop those pesky telemarketers, they can get on our Do Not Call list.
Is this the Tennessee Do Not Call list that we've heard people talk about?
Yes.
Go on, explain that.
Yes. Well, what happens is that a consumer can sign up by getting on our Do Not Call program. They can sign up by simply calling our agency, or they can sign up by email by calling, going to www.state.tn.us/TRA. They'll take them to our website, and there they'll see the array of services that we provide. But when a person gets on the Do Not Call list, we only provide a telephone number to the vendor that is required to contact us to scrub their list of those names, of those numbers that do not want to be called. And if we find companies that are violating this rule, then we move very swiftly in finding them. I like to believe that our agency, our state, has been a model for other states to follow. And I like to believe that the National Do Not Call list follow our lead, because we were doing what the consumers expect us to do. We were actually policing these type of occurrences and ensuring that consumers do not have to be bothered at times when they're trying to spend time with their family, when they're trying to spend time with, you know, doing other things within their own personal life.
So there's a time limit that is placed on the Do Not Call. They cannot call at certain. Explain that. How does that work?
Well, in reference to the time limit when a person can call you, that's basically regulated or monitored by the State Tennessee Consumer Affairs Department. What we make sure is that they don't call you. When you say you don't want to be called, whether it's at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, or even if it's within the allowed time, if you said you don't want to be bothered by telemarketers and you've been placed on our Do Not Call list, you're not to be bothered. So there is no time limit when you've been placed on the Do Not Call list. So again, they can call our agency, and they can call us at the local number, which is here, 741-3939. Ask for the Consumer Affairs, the Consumer Services Division, and they'll connect you to the Do Not Call program, and they'll take their name, address, and telephone number and place them on the list. Takes about 60 days for your name to come off all of the lists, but you may start seeing a decrease in those pesky phone calls right away. That's the Do Not Call program. In addition to the Lifeline and Link Up, and I just want to back up a minute, when I was mentioning earlier how a person who's low income can get telephone service at a reduced rate and also get a credit on their bill every month. If a person asks for local service only, and this is so very important, if a person asks for local service only when they call the telephone company to establish telephone service for the first time, and of course if they're receiving the food stamps or the SSI or Medicaid or Families First, or if their income meets the poverty level guidelines, meaning they qualify for the programs, by asking for local service only, the telephone company cannot ask them to pay a deposit.
So they don't have to pay a deposit, and that deposit can be as much as...
It could be on average the amount of what 2 months of local service would be, about $80 maybe. But that deposit really, it could be starting from anywhere from 50 on up. And of course, if they've had a bad history, but they've paid their bill to the telephone company, that deposit could be somewhat connected with the type of risk that the telephone company feel like they would be taking. Kind of like checking your credit and saying, we need to get this amount so that we will not miss any payments from the customer. But by the customer asking for local service only, what it's basically saying is that the consumer does not plan on running up a bill higher than what local service would be. By adding call waiting, call forwarding, those are optional services. That's not considered as local service. Those are just optional services.
And so everything beyond just local service, which means that it allows you to call only within that area code, that 615, for example, only within that area code? Is that what local service would do?
Local service, because we are in a state where countywide calling is in place, they can call within the county. Anywhere within the county would be local service. Now, for those cities that are metropolitan cities, and by them being metropolitan cities, we have in Nashville and cities like Memphis and also Knoxville, we have what is called metro area calling. And what that means is that you can call all of the counties that borders the city that is within the county that's metropolitan, and the people who live in those counties can call into the county itself. So to make this more clear, Davidson County can call into Sumner and call into Rutherford, and Rutherford can call in Davidson and wouldn't be long distance. So your metro
do they still have the same area code number, 615? Do they?
Well, of course, you know, with the scarcity of numbers, some do not have the same area code. I believe that in particularly one may have an area code 931, possibly, but irregardless if they're bordering, if they border the county that encumbers the metropolitan city, then it is metro area calling. And most consumers are aware that they have metro area calling. Most consumers are aware that they have countywide calling, because countywide call is a law.
I think that I might be aware that I had it, but I didn't know why I had it. And I think that this is a good explanation,
it
because
is to the credit of the
living
leadership
in one county and you can call into another county without that being a long distance charge.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, we've been able to do that, but we never exactly understood why we were able to do that, and so this is the justification for that.
Yes, yes, it's to the credit of the Tennessee Regulatory Authority's leadership that did provide, as a result of an audit, of a way to return money to the people and do it whereas more people can benefit from this overage that was founded in a audit of a telephone company.
Now, beyond the telephone, utilities, and et cetera, what are some of the other consumer type issues that your agency might be concerned with?
Absolutely. I want to relate some more things, because there are great things that are happening at the Tennessee Regulatory Authority, and we want to take this time to tell you more about it. There is also a program that I think is so very, very important. It's called the Telecommunication Devices Access Program. And what that program does is provide to persons who are deaf and or hard of hearing free telephone equipment that can assist them in using the phone. You know, a person who's deaf uses a special equipment called a TTY, text telephone. We provide the text telephone free of charge to that consumer, because we want to help make telephone service as close to telephone service for someone who does not have a disability. It came about, this program came about as a result of a study that our agency was directed to do. And in that study, it was shown that a person who had that disability, had a disability of either deaf and or hard of hearing, they had to pay not one time, not two times, not three times, but a very large amount of money for the purchasing of telephone equipment. The TTY at that time cost on average $200. But a person without a disability can go to maybe a Big Lots or a Walmart or what have you and buy a telephone for $10. Plug it in the phone, and they have their, you know, the ability to make a phone call. But a person who's deaf and or hard of hearing,
who needs special equipment,
their equipment costs so very much. And then if that equipment was to break, they would have to send it back to the manufacturer.
Another cost.
Another cost. And then accessibility. It was not easy for them to go and purchase these items. Normally you would have to ship or you have to buy them by some type of mail order or what have you. So what the TDAP program actually would do is provide to the consumer free of charge. It's not based on income, it's based on the need. And they will contact our agency. We'll provide them with an application. The application would include certification from a certified audiologist to state that they have the condition. And we would send that equipment out to them, and possibly would provide some training on how to use the equipment. In addition to TTYs, we provide amplified phones. We provide flashing light phones. So it's a lot of the equipment that we provide in that area.
Very good. And of course, Ms. Wilhoite, let me make preparations to end this today by thanking you for bringing that excellent information. I'm sure that many members of our audience who might be in situations where they might be able to have some kind of reduction on their telecommunications situations.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that this information will be very, very helpful for them. And we want to thank you for simply bringing us that information. And we would also like to encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.